Things appear to be downshifting from bad to oh sweet Jesus for Marvel, and I have one source and some talking points that I have worked up throughout this. Now, I hope that I have some talking points that I've worked diligently through this article to have some talking points that I have not seen represented other places in the sort of onlineosphere for this. But the headline here, Captain America Brave New World, seeing $95 million 4-day opening as pick hits 3 weekend tracking box office from Deadline by Anthony D'Alessandro, has been picked up multiple times here on YouTube through all of the primary culprits. But I want to sort of bit and piece this article. And the last point that I have here is something that if I were someone who actually had power at Disney slash Marvel, would terrify me. So the article itself begins, Disney Marvel Studios Captain America Brave New World has hit 3 weekend tracking with a number that's similar to what we saw recently, that being $95 million plus over 4 days. The movie opens on February 14th over the President's Day slash Valentine's Day weekend. Tickets went on sale Monday, and we hear that they're currently pacing 15% behind Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which opened to $118.4 million. They're also well above Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 94.6 million 4-day, in addition to Black Adam 67 million and The Flash 55 million. Now, difficult to really get the jump on 4 days versus 4 days, but I think that Shang-Chi with a 94.6 is actually pretty close to 95, not quite the well above territory. But they'd better hope that it's well above the territory of Shang-Chi, because Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings 2021 grossed $432,243,292 at the box office. This included $224.5 million from domestic box offices and $207.7 million from international box offices. Now, a couple things worth noting here. 2021, guys, I don't know about you, but in my neck of the woods in 2021, it was still shaky whether or not things were actually open, whether or not you could actually go do things, whether or not there were people sitting next to people in the theater, or whether or not you had to have 3 seats between you. Many people in that environment decided just to swear the whole thing off. That is not the case today. So that's number one. Number two, we're going to see a little bit later, but the projected or rumored budget for Captain America 4 is not in the same sphere as Shang-Chi. Well, we don't think. Probably they were lying about the budget on Shang-Chi as well. So this total, if Captain America 4, 4 years later than Shang-Chi, ends up with that's a lot of inflation. That's a lot of sort of promotional movie experiences added to thing. How many shaking chairs and mists being blown in your face, etc. To end with $432 million would be an absolute catastrophe for Disney. An absolute catastrophe, especially if what we're about to see is true. Demos remain hot with men above and under 25. In addition, the latest cap is solid with Latino and Black moviegoers. Captain America Brave New World cost around $180 million before P&A. I don't think it did. From MovieWeb.com, The Hollywood Reporter recently reported that Captain America Brave New World has a budget of $180 million. This is well below many recent Marvel movies and could be considered one of the cheapest since at least Shang-Chi and The Legend of the Ten Rings, which reportedly cost between 150 and 250 million. Those were kind of the budgets that Marvel was deploying on Phase 1. While it is or phase 1 slash Phase 2. While it is still more expensive than Captain America the First Avenger, 140 million, there we go, and Captain America and the Winter Soldier, 175 million, it is still well below the budget for Captain America Civil War, 250 million. This seemingly puts to bed last year's rumor that Captain America Brave New World would have a budget of $350 million due to reshoots. The rumors of a $350 million budget would have tied Captain America Brave New World as the ninth most expensive movie of all time, with Avatar The Way of Water. It also would make it the third most expensive MCU film, behind only Avengers Age of Ultron, $365 million, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, $351 million, and just above Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, $330 million. While you can expect reshoots to balloon the budget on Captain America Brave New World, as was the case with Solo, A Star Wars Story, and Justice League, nothing about the movie's budget was ever reported on by reliable source. Now, be the reliable sources as they may, what is considered a reliable source? Because this number, $180 million, is unbelievable. You cannot believe that number. If, with the excesses and stupidity that Disney has often prevailed in displaying, $350 million is probably much closer to the actual number. The next thing that I want to contend with here is this claim. In the latest, Cap is solid with Latino and Black moviegoers. Maybe that's true. I tend to not believe anything these sources put out there. Maybe that's true. You want a black character this popular with black demos? You have the third greatest Marvel character of all time in Blade. The third greatest Marvel character of all time. By the way, the original Wesley Snipes Blade movie won an Oscar. It's not true, it didn't win an Oscar, but it should have. It won an Oscar in my heart. You want a character to be popular with a Latino demo? You want a Latino character to put out there for the Latino demo? Why not Sunspot? Now, here, I know, nobody cares about Sunspot. Sunspot, as a character, kind of sucks. But very cinematic powers would get you into the mutant characters with the X-Men hopefully coming up at some point. You spent the money to get Fox and just never used the mutants. I don't understand that. And here's another thing. Yeah, Sunspot sucks. Not a very cool character. But I ask you, how many of you legitimately knew of the Guardians of the Galaxy before that movie? All you have to do is make a good movie with good characters. And you've got a good character. That's all you have to do. The liberties taken with the Guardians of the Galaxy characters in their adaptation to the movie screen as opposed to the comic books were pretty big. I think we can all agree about that. But they were good. So no one really cared. I am not one who particularly cares about race swapping characters so long as there is not something in that character's actual bio that makes the race swapping difficult. Like if you were to make Wolverine a black character, that changes a lot more than just the race, because the timeline in Wolverine's life would change a lot about that character. I think a great choice for, and this is going to maybe cause problems, a great choice for Cyclops in X-Men would be Denzel Washington. Completely different from the comic books, yes. You're going to add gravitas to that character. Nobody likes Cyclops. Cyclops sucks. Do something to make it at least interesting. I think that would be a great choice. I think it would be an interesting choice at least. Among 4-day opening records for President's Day weekend, Marvel Studios owns the top three with 2018's Black Panther, $242.1 million, Deadpool, $152.1 million, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, $120.3 million. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania posted a 3-day total of $106.1 million. Deadpool's was $132.4 million, while Black Panther's was $202 million. Other comps have the Captain America in the range of Quantumania and 2014's Captain America Winter Soldier's $95 million 3-day weekend. Anyone whining that the 3-day weekend isn't that strong on Captain America Brave New World, duly note it's a reboot of the franchise with a new lead. Reboot is a very strange way to put Falcon is already a character. It's a very strange way to put the mantle strategy is tough to communicate with an uninvested audience. It's not a reboot. It's a continuation. It's not a sequel. It's a continuation. It's not a reboot. The article continues and finishes this way. The plus for Disney is that Brave New World is the only tentpole in the marketplace until arguably March 21st, when the studio rolls out their Gal Gadot, Rachel Zegler Snow White movie. Yes, that's how the article ends. Calling Captain America 4 straight into Snow White might not be the victory that this article is trying to make it out to be. Now, the final point that I have here. This set me off a little bit. I wanted to know exactly what it was Marvel would be doing this year, because the whole Disney into Disney is an interesting talking point. Disney's Captain America 4 into Disney's Snow White is an interesting approach. I think they're both going to flop dramatically, but I wanted to know, because I didn't know off the top of my head, what is going on here with Marvel this year? If we're going instead of Disney to Disney, we're going from Marvel to Marvel, what is the next Marvel project? I know things have been a bit shaky with the release dates and a lot of movies getting shuffled. February 14th, you have Captain America 4. More or less, I knew this. And look, I might not be the target audience for Marvel anymore. I might not be. At one point in time, certainly I was. At one point in time, I could have told you all of these dates, day and date. Now, I can't. The last movie I saw in theaters was Deadpool 2. I haven't been back since. There's been nothing to get me out of the house and into the theater since Deadpool 2. So, fine. Maybe I'm not the target audience. Guys after I was the target audience, arguably not the target audience any longer, I knew a lot of at least the release years on things. I knew what Phase 4 was going to be. I knew what Phase 5 was. Or are we in Phase? I don't even know what phase we're in anymore. But I knew what years the movies would be released. Do you know what the next movie is after Captain America 4? Thunderbolts. I had no idea that movie ever got greenlit. I thought that was still, hey, Suicide Squad over at the other guys didn't go quite so well after the first round. Maybe we shouldn't do this. That's where I thought that movie was in development. I was wrong. It's coming out in just a couple months. Okay, a lot of times Marvel has 3 movies coming out in a year. Do you know what that third movie is? I had no idea. I had zero clue. This year, July 25th, Fantastic Four comes out. I have seen zero hype for that. There used to be a year-long run-up to any of these Marvel movies in the hype machine. There used to be at least a year-long run-up to any of these Marvel releases in the hype machine. I had no idea Fantastic Four was coming out so soon. I thought Fantastic Four was scheduled for like 2028. I had no idea that this was this close. Captain America 4, you can understand. Maybe it would flop. You're changing the lead. For some reason, I don't know why you want to. Why not? Falcon's a great character. Anthony Mackie's a great actor. Well, maybe not. Maybe not a great character. Maybe not a great actor. I don't know. I like them. They're good to me. I enjoy the character. I enjoy the actor. Why not just go with that? Give that character his own movie. There's no need to go with the Captain America route. But okay, fine. You want to do it. Maybe it'll bomb. Seems likely. Thunderbolts. That's not an entry that anyone would have ever given the over-under something favorable. I think even in Marvel's heyday, people would have thought that's a risk. I don't see any way that bombs. Or I don't see any way that's successful. It's going to bomb. That's excusable. It's Thunderbolts. Okay, you tried it, didn't work out, cast it aside. I'm telling you this right now. If Fantastic Four bombs, if Fantastic Four is not a billion-dollar movie, then what Marvel has now is, in practice, no more compelling than what Fox had in the early 2000s, when Fantastic Four was bombing for them.